Good morning. It's Monday and I'm Nancy Joy. Today's quote came from my friend astrologer Bonnie Ogren, who sends out great full moon and eclipse and new moon reports. So look her up if you don't know about her. But she said in her eclipse full moon report this week that it's impossible to express courage unless you have had the trust and faith to face into your fear. In other words, unless you're really tested, you really don't know if you have courage or not. And, it took me to a phone call that I had with a very good friend who's a very high vibration and advanced on her journey. And she has been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer in the fall and has had, as you can imagine, quite a journey. Now she seems to be on an upward swing, and we were chatting about if she would need to go to the chemotherapy, the advanced, where you get quite ill, and we had always said to each other we would never choose to do that. And as she shared with me her feelings, I could really see the journey into that fear isn't as simple as making a decision like that, because the truth is what courage is. The courage is necessary to face your feelings. It's necessary to face your feelings enough so that you can make that choice and move through the fear. Because if you just try to use the kind of courage which pushes through any kind of feelings you may have, the backlash can pull you right back again. And as I got to think, and I'm not talking about the kind of courage it takes to pull a child out of a burning house, or of course, your feeling is you're going to save the child. You don't stop and think about the ramifications. But again, that's not feelings. Feeling what it is, as we higher beings know that we're on a soul journey, and what it is that we really want to do. And, the truth of courage is it probably doesn't matter so much which choice we make. It's the courage and the truth and the heart with which we move through it. So really, as I sat and thought about it, I thought, it really isn't about whether she or I would choose the intense form of chemotherapy, but whatever we chose, the consciousness and courage with which we moved into our transition or through the disease or illness. And then I went further, and I sat there in meditation, and what my soul took me through were really very many times in my life where I have faced adversity using great courage. And yet each time I did, as I thought about this and felt it and understood it, I used a different texture of courage, a different variety of courage. Sometimes it was a courage that was soft and gentle and went around the edges to come out the other side, but it was courage nonetheless. Sometimes it was a courage to face something I really was fearful of facing. There have been times in my life, in your life too, where I'm sure you've had to really give up things, let go of things, and move on. It's very difficult, and it takes a tremendous amount of courage. And so as I pondered all these varieties of courage and adversity that have gone on in my life, I came out on the other side of my meditation feeling very empowered, feeling like I've taken the PhD course in courage, perhaps. There's always more to learn, but I feel I have a lot to work with. And then I thought to share with you this Monday morning, all of you have this. If you sit and be still and really look at the courage you have had to be on your spiritual path, number one, takes great courage. To continue on with the lessons takes a tremendous amount of courage. And sometimes you look at others in your family or around you that kept that lid to spiritual growth pretty close tight. And, you might look at them and say, it's easier for them, because sometimes it is. But here's the thing. The consciousness is that you have the courage. Courage is one of the abilities that we have been taught, honed, expanded, and come with also to help us through the shift. Because as the shift comes and our foundations are crumbling, the courage in our faith and trust in ourselves is what is pulling us through. So this Monday morning, take stock of courage in your life, and I'll bet you find you have a lot more of it and you've used it a lot more than you might imagined. And that's a feel good. And have a great week. We'll see you next week.